This is an exciting thing for anybody who's been loving Tombows for a long time. Like, this really is an exciting thing. Hi everybody, today I am looking at the new Tombow dual brush pen colors. Now, new marker colors may not sound like an exciting thing for anybody until you find out that Tombow has not come out with new dual brush pen colors, according to the website, in 29 years. I was, I think, 10 the last time they came out with new colors. Put it in perspective, now you know how old I am. Actually, I'll be 39 in January, but we won't worry about that. Yeah, having them come out with new colors was great. Now, I got these in the VIP box. I don't order the VIP box every time it comes out, but I do when there's a newer product that I'm interested in. And the last 3 times they've done the box, there have been products I've wanted, so I've ordered it. But you can also get these on the website. They are available on the Tombow website in the new dual brush pen colors set 12-piece bundle for $38.28, which isn't, super cheap, but it's pretty much in line with buying individual Tombows. I actually have the 96 count Tombow set. Like, I have the full set, plus I have some extras of a couple of the different colors that I use a lot. So adding these, A, helps my completionist heart, but B, I'm curious to see how these fall in line with the rest of the colors, because I can tell you right now, looking at this, that there are at least a couple of colors here that I have specifically wanted in the dual brush pens that they haven't had. And I'm really thinking of the teals. Like, there really isn't much in the way of teals in the original or in the 96 count set, so adding these will be helpful. But what I want to look at today are these colors, do a swatch page of them, and then look at where they fall in the existing color range to see, are they necessary? Would I have preferred something else? Blah, blah, blah. So let's take a look at these, see how they compare. Just as a heads up, I'm not on the Tombow design team. I paid for these myself because I know that there are a lot of people on the design team out there, and so I figured I would just distinguish that I'm not. So let's take a look. So there are 12 colors here. They gave 2 grays, a cool and a warm tone gray, a handful of like pinkish kinds of warmer tones, and then all of these cool colors, especially these teals right here in the middle. So I think the first thing I'm actually going to do, because if you would like to know my thoughts on Tombows, I can leave the brush pen playlist up above. I've talked about them a whole shit ton of times. I really love Tombow dual brush pens, but I think the quickest way to really compare these to the current colors is to just do a swatch page and start from there. So that's where I'm going to start. So this is my current bullet journal. It's a Scribbles That Matter bullet journal, and then I actually have one of my older ones. This one's from about this time last year. Here's like December and November, and I'm looking at how I used to bullet journal, and I kind of want to go back to this. I was actually looking at, what page was it? This is a side note completely, but like I was looking at these pages and I was like, oh, I missed that. I might go back to this for a while in December. Who knows? But anyway, I lost the swatch page. Oh, balls. So here are my original swatch pages for my 96 count collection. And this is, when I do a swatch page, I hang on to my old bullet journals so I can find them again. And what I actually think I want to do is go through and mark them with page flags so that I can find, because this one I use a lot. When I'm picking out Tombow colors, I always come back to this same swatch page. So I'm going to keep this one on Scribbles That Matter paper off to the side. I'm going to do a new page with these colors in my new journal, and then we'll take a look to see where these colors fall in the spectrum. I kind of screwed up on this side. I made one of these little gaps 1 square instead of 2, but we're not going to worry about that. So looking at these colors on their own without comparing them, I love the teal range. I think it's just so pretty. And the closest colors to each other are probably these guys, but this Alice blue is more green and this Aqua is more blue toned. So there is a difference there, and it's a pretty difference. I do love all the colors. I think this mauve is really gorgeous. I like looking at all of them. There's none of these colors are colors that I think suck. They're all beautiful colors. But the real question is, where do they fall in the Tombow pantheon of colors. So let's take a look, shall we? 131 Lemon Lime kind of falls in this range between the light olive 126 and the 133 Chartreuse. And this Lemon Lime basically looks like a lighter version of this. So I'm going to compare the two of those next to each other. So the first pen I'm going to put down is 133 Chartreuse, and then the second pen is 131 Lemon Lime, the new color. So as you can see here, it's basically this Lemon Lime is a lighter version of the Chartreuse. So as an example, if I was going to like use it as like a shadow, or maybe vice versa, there is enough of a difference there to show kind of the different colors. So that's really pretty. And before this Chartreuse, this was the only kind of like yellow-green color. There wasn't a lighter one. The only other light color of green in here that could have been like a green, like pale accent would be the mint. And that doesn't really go with this. So I think that this is a nice complement to the Chartreuse. All right, what's the next one on my list here? Speaking of the mint, this is 291 Alice Blue. The Alice Blue, I think, is supposed to kind of go in this area. Again, you have this lighter mint color, you have this green color, and then you have this Alice Blue, which is actually more like a palish green situation, but it's more blue toned than the mint. So let's compare that both to the mint and to the green, because on the Tombow chart they gave me, it's paired right next to the 296 green, sort of like how the Lemon Lime is a lighter version of the Chartreuse, if this is a much lighter version of the green. So let's look at both of those colors. So here is the green, number 296, and then this is the new color, 291 Alice Blue. The difference here is much more pronounced than the difference here, but you can see that they're very similar in tone to each other. And here it's the mint right next to it. Now see this, there isn't that much of a difference. There's a little tiny bit of a difference, but I feel like not a massive amount. Like you see them next to each other and they're very, very similar. So I would say that while I think this 291 is a nice compliment, I feel like it is a little too similar for the mint to the mint. There is difference. The mint is a little bit more green. The Alice Blue is a little bit more blue, but it's very, very subtle. Well, I think it's nice to have it there. I also don't think that this was, the Alice Blue's not filling in as much of a gap as, say, the Lemon Lime did. So the next group we're going to look at are the teals, and on the new color chart, they're actually all in the same family of each other. It's 379, 401, 403, and 407. And I'm going to tell you right now, before I even show you these, like comparatively speaking, I don't really need to question that teals were a necessary addition. I'm pretty sure I have said in more than one video at times, not brush pen focused, but just in videos where I was lamenting that the one real area that the Tombow set was deficient in was the teals. Like you can see here, if you look at it, you go from the greens to the blues and then the darker blues and the purples, and there really isn't any teal. The closest thing to teal I would use would be this like sea blue 373 right here. This was the, or maybe the sea green, but that's really more green. Like this sea blue here was pretty much the only teal that I could find. So I want to cover these and see if there's anything in here that maybe matches. But for the most part, I know that this was a big missing section. And looking at these, I don't think that there's anything comparable to either of these two in the set. Everything, these are both very teal. I don't know if it's showing on the camera or not, but like this is blue. There's no teals in here. The Jade Green here is very similar in depth to the sea green, but this is green and this is blue. So I'm gonna compare these two. And then the Aqua, I feel like has most similarities with these two here, maybe the sky blue or the glacier blue, which are both pretty similar in and of themselves. So I'm gonna pull these two colors and the sea green. But as for the bright blue and the tiki teal, both of those colors, 407 and 403, there really isn't anything in here. And these are the ones really that I was hoping for whenever Tombow came out with new colors. I'm comparing from the old collection 346 sea green to the new collection 379 jade green. So old collection will be on the left, new on the right. And as you can see here, they're similar in depth, but you can look and see that this is really a bluer tealy color and this is just a dark forest green. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera, but they are very different colors. It might be hard for you to see that. And like, especially after I just bitched about the mint versus the Alice Blue, but this to me is different. And maybe it's because with darker saturation colors, you can kind of get the differences more. The paler a color is, the harder it is sometimes to see the difference. For the others, we have these two from the older collection, 451 Sky Blue and 491 Glacier Blue, and then we have the new one, the 401 Aqua. And as you can see, the 401 Aqua is actually darker than either of these two colors. It's actually very similar in tone to them, but just different saturations. I would say if it's close to either of them, it would be close to the Sky Blue, I think is the first one I put down. Yeah, those colors are very similar to each other. So I would suggest that much like the Alice Blue and the Mint, there are differences here, but not so much that this blows my mind the way that some of the other colors did. Next, we have the dark color, the Jet Blue, number 569. This guy falls in this situation, the 555, 528, 565 Deep Blue. I feel like this Jet Blue is actually much more like black toned than these guys. This is a bright ultramarine. The navy blue seems like a lighter version of the jet blue, and then the deep blue's got more purple, whereas this one is a darker kind of blackish blue. So I'm going to pull the navy blue and the deep blue to compare it, 565 and 528. And then I'll put right above it 569 jet blue, the new color. And as you can see here, looking at the three of these are all three different colors. They're all dark blues, but they all have different undertones to them. So much like the Jade Green and the Sea Green, I can see the difference here, and I can see where it would be necessary to add it in. Now we're moving to these pink colors. We have Pink Punch 803 and 817 Mauve. Now I could swear when I put this Pink Punch down that there was colors in here that were already that color. I could swear that I knew that. But looking at this, I think I'm wrong. Like, honestly, the closest is this coral, and this is much more orange than the 803 color. So I must have been just like hallucinating. Or maybe I have different pens. They might be comparable. I think this might be comparable to a pink in the Zig Brushables or the Koi, one of those brush pens. As for the mauve, this color is basically the same as the blush, just darker, which is actually a color I've been wanting. The other color it might be similar to is the wine red. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take a look at the 873, which is the coral, to go along with the Pink Punch 803. So we'll put, again, the older color on the left and the newer color on the right. And as you can see here, totally different colors. So that's perfect. This is a welcome addition, this Pink Punch. Like I said, I thought there was a color like that, but apparently I was wrong. And I grabbed two colors to check against the Mauve 817, 772, which is the blush, which is the lighter version of the Mauve, because I want to see how they look against each other. And then I grabbed the 837, which is the wine red, the closest color to it on the swatches that I'm looking at. So I actually put the wine red and the blush here so I can stick the mauve in between them, which is what I should have done in the beginning. So obviously this color basically falls into this spectrum. It's like this could be a darker version of this, which could be a darker version of this. So it actually works really well. So I'm very excited about both peachy pink type colors that have been added to the Tombows. Lastly, before we hit the grays, we have 910 Opal, which is like, again, I just put that down next to the coral because it feels very similar to that. To take a look at the 912 Pale Cherry up against the 910 Opal. The opal basically looks like a lighter shade of that. So that works out. Final section here are the two grays, and there's a warm gray and a cool gray. Now, when you look at the grays that Tombow already has, they only have 3 warm grays. So I feel like adding in this additional warm gray was really helpful. It's very similar to warm gray 5 and 57, so I'll compare it to that. So N57 first, and then the new N49. But as you can see, they're different colors. This is more of a greenish gray, and this is more of a like gray. I feel like this is almost a little bit more on the neutral side of warm. And then as for N52, there's a lot of cool grays, but this one is like a lighter bluish gray, and I feel like the closest one, I don't really think there's any of these colors that actually are the same as it. I feel like it kind of fits right in this area right here between this really pale cool gray and then these like this bluer toned one. Yeah, I don't even feel the need to compare it. So overall, looking at these new colors, I feel like they're all pretty awesome additions, necessary additions to the lineup. I think the only two I had any real issue with were the two lightest colors, the two light cool colors, the Alice Blue and the Lemon Lime.
Oops.
I feel like they're close enough to their counterparts in the other Tombows that they felt a little less necessary. But honestly, there are very subtle differences with a lot of other colors in the collection, which helps for shading. And I can overlook that just in the sense of this teal selection. Holy shit, was that needed? So my suggestion would be, especially if you're a completionist, to pick these up because these do fill in a lot of the gaps that there were in the original Tombows. Just the teals alone make the Tombow 90, like the full Tombow collection, feel more complete. Would I suggest maybe waiting for them to be available individually, or maybe they are available individually rather than buying them in a pack? Depends on if you're a completionist or not. I'm glad to have the whole set of them, and now I have to find room for them somewhere in my holder, which makes me think that's why they put out this new case that had room for more pens in it, which means I have to go through and find the doubles that are in there because I filled it up with my current set and my doubles. Hashtag first world problems. Anyway, you guys, my regular brush pen reviews will be starting back up again next week. So if you have any any brush pens or any pens at all you'd love me to take a look at, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.